Three, two, one. All right, welcome back to Lady on the Street podcast. I'm your host, Priscilla, and I am back with another episode, you guys. I am so excited to have today's guest on because, first of all, I've got to just thank you for your service, but we're going to get all into it, okay? We're talking about Chisme, Chicana Chisme today, okay? Today's guest is a lady who spends her time learning all about Latinos in our community, but today it's all about her. She's a U.S. Navy veteran who knows how to carry a conversation, and she's always full of knowledge, okay? One scroll through her social, and you'll see how proud she is to be Hispanic and how much she loves to rep her gente. She's strong, she is brave, she is humble and badass. Tori E., welcome to
I
Lady
will
on the
take that.
Street.
That was awesome. I'm all, can I get that for my bio?
No, I
I
I
love
was
it.
going like on a deep dive of your content and I was like, look, you're really like highlighting people that are doing great in the community and I'm like, it's time we highlight you a
Oh,
little
thank you. I
bit.
appreciate that.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just jump right into it. So you've been kicking ass on this podcast since 2020,
Yes.
right? Okay, so I already thanked you, but again, you're a Navy veteran,
I'm
so
actually back active now.
are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
I'm a recruiter here in San Antonio, actually. hmm
nice. Okay, so you joined the Navy in what, 2009?
2009.
2009. I'm already all over the place, you guys. I have to just ask first of all. I forgot. We always start our episodes with what we're drinking.
Oh,
So tell me,
yeah.
tell me. This is just
This beautiful drink over here.
she was like,
Perfect.
surprise me. I'll take this or this. And I
Yeah,
was
I
like
was like, rum, vodka, tequila. I'm good with
I was like,
whatever.
tequila pineapple it is. So
Perfect. Cheers.
cheers.
And she made it delicious, by the way. It's very good.
Okay, now we'll get back on track. Okay, so 2009,
hmm
you enlisted.
Yes.
What made you want to do that?
So I always actually wanted to join the military. I wanted to join the army. I graduated in '05, and if anybody remembers '05, Afghanistan was like all you were hearing was about people dying and explosions and the war, just how bad it was. And I talked to an army recruiter, but I was still 17, and my mom was like, "I think the fuck not." She was like, "Girl, no." So she was like, "You're going to college," and I attempted college, did horrible at it, which I wasn't surprised. And then once I got older, I was kind of lost. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was staying with one of my girlfriends, and her brother had just joined the Navy, and I was like, I'm gonna join the military. Like I always thought about it. Now let me kind of do it. And here I am, 15 years later.
Yeah. This is I always wonder like what gets into people, especially when you're that young and
Yeah.
you're just like, I'm just gonna do this. Like you gotta be so brave to just take that jump, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, I always wanted to do it. So my uncle, who passed away like a few months before I left to boot camp, he was a Green Beret in Vietnam,
Mm.
and he has a crazy, crazy story. He was like 16. He forged his grandparents because he lived with his grandparents at the time. Forged his grandparents' signature for him to go. He was in Vietnam. He was a ton rat. So he was special forces, and he retired. And I just always thought he was like the fucking coolest person ever. I thought he was so badass, and I was always kind of a little bit of a tomboy. So I just always was like, I'm gonna go to the army and be like my uncle Danny. And so, like I said, I attempted to. It's something I always wanted to do, and it kind of just stuck.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's great. And so I guess because you wanted to join the army first and then you transitioned to the Navy, what was
Mhm.
that like? Did you end up, I mean, 15 years later, you're still doing it. I imagine you loved it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So it's crazy because I actually wanted to join the Air Force because I was thinking like, oh, I can still stay here in San Antonio since Lackland is here. And so when I went to the recruiting office station, they're all like right next to each other. So it's like Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force. And so I was so nervous. I like sat in my car for like an hour because I'm thinking like they're gonna ship me off like next week. So I'm in the car. I'm super nervous. I get off. I walk in and there's a recruiter coming out and he's like, "Hey, did you need some information?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just like had a couple questions." And he's like, "Okay, cool." So he comes inside and he's like, "Let me get some paperwork real quick." And I'm like, "All right." So I sit down and I'm just like looking around. And as I'm looking around, I'm seeing like ships, water, and I'm like, fuck, I walked into the wrong fucking office. Like, because the Air Force one was right next to there. But I was just so nervous. I saw like somebody coming out the door and like, just beelined there. Total blinders on, right? And I was like, let me just hear what this dude like has to say, right? Um And yeah, I mean, he totally got me too because I was brand new 21. He was talking about how he went out to all these different ports, all they did was party, all they did was drink, and he was like this, dark ass cholo Mexican from the South Side. So I was all about it. So I know, horrible, horrible origin story, right? And so yeah, he had me take the ASVAB, and next thing I know, like there I am joining the Navy.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
talk about by chance, right? I mean, did the thing so do you like the water? Like, cause I wondered, would you ever get seasick or
So I've actually never been on a ship, and that's not by intention. That's just how it just happened. I was with the Seabees, and they're a construction battalion unit
Mhm.
that began during World War II. And so all my deployments were with them, and they're all boots on ground because
Okay.
they do a lot of like humanitarian missions. They go and build like wells,
Yeah.
toiletries, schools for like different little areas.
Yeah.
So they're all boots on ground. Never been on a ship. I've been on a ship like twice.
Yeah.
And it was just mainly for training, and it just so happens to have been my career. Just never, I just
Yeah.
was never on a ship.
Well, that's interesting that you bring that up because I do feel like now knowing that it makes sense why you would be doing kind of what you're doing now and
Yeah,
talking with people who are doing good in the community. It's like you spent your tenure there
yeah.
kind of helping with that as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah. And with the construction battalion, everybody always laughs at me because I'm like, it's puro Mexicanos or country ride boys? Because it's literal construction.
Yeah.
Like they're building things, they're doing roads, they're like paving.
Yeah.
It, so I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I was like, this is where my people are at.
No, I love that. Tell me a little bit then about where you were stationed at, like first, and then kind of what that journey was.
Oh man, I've been everywhere. So my very first duty station, it was a special duty. I got interviewed for it in boot camp, and so I went straight to it, and it was on the USS Constitution. It's one of the six original ships when the Navy first started back in like the 1800s.
Oh my gosh.
I'm totally forgetting all my history right now, but it's more of like a historical ship. So people come on, we give them tours, we tell them the history about the US Navy and how it was one of the very first six ships. So that was really cool. It was a special duty. It was really cool to have been able to have gotten that opportunity because they listen to how you speak, they listen to how you interact with people. You definitely can't be an introvert for something like that.
Yeah.
Even just your appearances, are you well groomed, are you well put together? So I thought that was pretty cool, especially being Hispanic in Boston, because that's where I was in Boston,
Yeah.
of all places. So that was interesting. It was definitely a culture shock because I'd never left San Antonio before, and they're a little racist up there, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh no.
I had a little part-time job, and I made friends with a bunch of Dominican and black girls.
Yeah.
So that was a whole different thing because they weren't listening to Tejano or anything up there. It was puro like salsa, merengue, bachata, which I learned to
Yes.
love. Right, the food was different. It was a whole other ball game. And then from there, I got stationed with the CBs and went to California. So
Okay.
I'm going to California, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be back with the gente, back with the Mexicans. And I landed in Oxnard, California, which is like Little Michoacan. It's where all the Dole the fields are. So like
Oh,
the strawberry
yes.
fields, the grapes, all of
Yes.
that. So it was nothing but like a lot of migrants. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm in Mexico. And that was a whole different ball game because the California food is different, their
Mhm.
slang is different. Everyone always used to call me a gringa because my Spanish wasn't that great at the time. I did not like banda. Banda was not popular like that in '09 the way it is
Oh
here
no.
now.
Yeah.
We were totally anti, like my grandpa used to be like, "Oh, you're chuntara."
That's so funny. Yeah, I mean, similar concepts. I think it's got to do a lot with the Tejano,
Yeah, no,
There's
for
like a
sure.
rivalry there.
Yeah, and so I mean, they listen to norteño, which is like Ramon Ayala, Michael
Mhm.
Salgado, what we listen to here, but
Yes.
totally different. The food is different. It's just such a different vibe, and so I caught that vibe. I was there when Jenny Rivera passed away in 2012, R.I.P. And so that was cool. I did 3 deployments when I was there for 5 years, and then from there I went to Chicago. I was stationed at one of the VA hospitals up there, and then I was there for maybe about a year and a half. And my grandfather, who I'm very close with, started having health issues, and then my mom, who she's an only child, she started having her own health issues. So, long story short, I ended up just telling them that as the oldest and the female of my siblings, that I needed to come back and help take care of them. So that's why I ended up back in San Antonio. I came back at the end of 2017. I was stationed at Lackland at the Master of Arms A school. And when it was time for me to re up in 2019, we found out my grandpa had cancer for a second time in a different area. It was already stage 3. And so I wasn't really ready to leave him just yet. So I got out, went reserves. at the time, my commanding officer, he was like, "Hey, do you want to stay here? Get you a civilian job." And I was like, "Heck yeah! Why would I leave?"
Yeah.
And so I did that for 5 years. And then last year, my grandfather unfortunately passed away. And so I was like, you know what? I've already been in 15 years. I've committed all this time. Like, I have 5 more years before I can retire. So I submitted a package to go recruiting because I knew I'd stay here in San Antonio because I bought my house during the time that all that was going on. And so now I'm back on active duty orders.
Oh my
Yeah, so
goodness.
literally like everywhere. I was on the East Coast, the West Coast, the Midwest, and then back south.
What a journey though.
Yeah,
Geez, I just think like the from being 21 and getting all that exposure. First of all, you mentioned culture shock, like
yeah.
1000%, right?
Mhm.
But like the knowledge that you gain and just like who it helps shape you to become.
Mhm.
I bet that was really interesting to just get exposed to all of those things because there's so many people that, like you, never leave San Antonio, let alone Texas, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, girl, if I would have stayed in San Antonio, I would have had like three baby daddies. One would have been in like Dominguez over here. Would have had one in Bear County. Like, Lord knows where my life would have ended had I stayed in San Antonio.
So
No
the
offense to anybody whose baby's daddy's locked
right.
up. I'm just saying that was the road that I probably would have been on.
The Lord knew why he sent you down
He
that one
really
door,
did, though.
right?
He really did. Or it would have been me in there. Who knows? I was I was I was quite the drinker when I was 21, girl. So who
Oh,
knows?
no. Well, I wonder if that was like the catch that the recruiter would just tell all these 21-year-olds like we would party, we would do this, we would do that just to get them sucked in like
I mean, it's possible, or maybe he just kind of caught on to my vibe that I was
right.
freshly 21, and
Yeah.
who knows?
So what's it like now then that you're a recruiter? I mean, you're kind of on the flip side now. How do
Yeah,
you
and honestly, I've really enjoyed being a recruiter just because I've had such a good career, especially after a few years ago when the whole Vanessa Guillen thing happened.
Yeah.
A lot of people had such a different take, and and not to dismiss anyone's trauma, not to dismiss anybody's fight. But things like that happen in college too, unfortunately. I mean, they happen in everyday life.
Yeah.
And it does it suck because in the military they think you're supposed to take care of us, you're supposed to watch out for one another. So it has its downfalls for sure. But are you guys gonna stop sending your kids to college? Are you guys gonna stop living their life? Unfortunately not, because you just never know what's gonna happen anywhere in life.
Yeah.
And I had a great career. I had people that looked out for me. I had good mentors, and I really wanted to show people that it is possible. Aside, especially females, especially minority females. And like I said, I had such a great career, had such a great run, I had such great mentors and people that I came across the way that I also wanted to be one of those people that people came across on their journey.
I do think that it is important that you share that aspect of it. And yes, like rest in peace, Vanessa Guillen, for
Yeah.
sure. But I do understand what you're saying is like right after that happened, so many people were hesitant to, like my kid's never going to join the military. Look at this
Yeah.
one instance, right? But you're right, there are bad people everywhere,
Yeah.
you know?
Definitely. And then like I said, not to dismiss anybody's,
No.
anything that they went through because I've, seen that other side also. But it's just helped me have such a stepping stone. And like I said, I was so lost at the time when I left that I don't even know where I couldn't even begin to tell you half of the things I've done. I never even in my wildest dreams I would have thought that I would have even attempted.
Yeah.
So
No, okay, so you went, you came back, dealt with some of your family
mhm.
stuff. Sorry to hear about
Thank
your
you.
grandpa. So around 2019 is when you decided to take a jump and start a podcast, I'd say, right?
So it was actually like 2018. So I had a podcast with two of my other girlfriends. It was called the Hana Talk. And we were
Ah,
just there, chismeandoing or whatever, talking crap. And then after kind of a while, it got hard because they're both moms. One of them
yeah,
has their own business. And it was just really hard with like conflicting schedules, getting together. And then it kind of ended up being like I was the one editing it because they were busy. I'm the
yeah,
single girl. And so a lot of it kind of like started getting on me. And so I was just, and I know they really wanted to do it, but at the same time, I was kind of like, well, a lot of stuff I was having to compromise with things I wanted to do with them. And I
yeah.
was really big on wanting to do like history and things of that nature. So it was funny. It was a good podcast. I haven't looked, but I think it's still out there in the world.
I have to go find it.
Yeah, but so then after that, I was like, "Do y'all mind if I like do it by myself?" And they're like, "No, go ahead." So then that's when I kind of changed it, the whole vibe.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So you guys kind of started just like jibber jabber fun like topics and
Yeah,
yeah.
like one of my friends, she's originally from California, and so we would talk like the difference between like California and
Yeah.
Texas.
Mhm.
And then we had one episode where we just like talked about Fiesta and all the crazy things
Yeah.
because they're a little bit older than me, so we were talking about all the craziness that we used to do and all their pendejadas from when we were like in our early 20s and stuff like that. So it was just pretty much just a bunch of laughs.
Yeah, no, I love that. I do love like a podcast that's about nothing, but I also understand wanting more and to
Yeah,
kind of like want to make an impact in some
for
way.
sure.
And I think that you've taken your podcast down that route.
Thank you.
Tell me, I guess, what's your favorite thing about hosting? Or I guess before we even get there, Chicana Chisme, how
Mhm.
did that name come about?
I had like 50 million names that I was trying, and I would like send them to my friends. And I was like, all right, which one do you think sounds more catchy? And it just ended up being like Chicana Chisme. Because I feel like when we did the Hana Talk, it was very niche,
Hmm.
being from Texas. And then I was like, well, like I have so many friends. I made so many friends when I was in California. And then Chicago actually has a huge Mexican American culture up there, like way
Yeah,
bigger than people even think.
you'd
And
be surprised.
yeah,
Yes.
and so I just felt like I didn't want to just make it down to like something in Texas, even though the reason I started it was because when I started getting into podcasts, I didn't hear anybody from Texas. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, you don't hear anybody from Texas? Let me like start this. And I was like, well, what's kind of going to be something that's going to be more like unified? And it was like Chicana. And especially because I feel like people who identify as being Chicano, Chicanx, whatever you want to call yourself, are a little more socially conscious, and I felt like that's kind of where I was at the time. So I
Mhm.
felt like that was going to hit a particular people, regardless of where regionally you were. And specifically, people who identified like that were going to understand the topics I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think probably everybody that's trying to come up with a name starts with like a gajillion of them and then
Yeah,
you
for
narrow it
sure.
down. Well, it's catchy. I like it.
Yeah.
Chicana
Thank
chisme.
you.
I guess tell me then what is your favorite thing about hosting a podcast?
I think the people listening to things and telling me, especially like the history, Mexican American studies was one of my minors and one of my degrees. So I love history. I love, sharing the knowledge because there's a lot of things that people don't know. Um, and so I like when people are like, "Oh, I didn't know that." Like, "Oh, that's so cool." Or when people meet other people through me. They're like, "Hey, I'm working with this person as a resource, like bringing resources together," which was the whole purpose, is that people that were, doing things in the community or had specific organizations, I wanted them to get more exposure than the people who already knew about them. So I
Yeah.
love hearing how people were able to contact each other and help one another with what they had going on because of the podcast.
Yeah. That's good. That's a really great kind of like mission, I guess, is to really just create that space for people to connect.
Mhm.
You do a good job at really helping people. I mean, from what I've watched, people like automatically feel pretty comfortable. You're really great at
Oh,
conversation.
thank you.
Like,
Girl, I could talk to the walls.
yeah.
So it works out for me like that.
No, I was really interested to see that you have what, 4 seasons? Is that correct?
This is my 5th season.
Fifth season.
This year.
And just a shit ton of guests. Like, oh my
Thanks.
gosh. So I did notice, I guess in your first 2 seasons, you were part of a Tejano 360. Is that
I'm
what you're?
still part of that.
You're still part.
Actually, the last 2 past seasons were part of Tejano 360.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So, in 2019, when I had got out of being active duty, is when KXTN had announced that they were just going to be on AM, which is our Tejano station.
That was like
Right,
heartbreaking.
for everybody. And so this new radio station had been announced that they were coming to San Antonio. They're from the Valley or more like Corpus, Victoria area, that they were
Hmm.
coming to San Antonio to be the new Tejano FM radio. And it was in the current. And one of my really good friends sent it to me and he was like, look, they're looking for DJs. Like, you should apply, just kind of as a joke, right? And at this point, we had already started the Hana Talk, which was the
Yes.
podcast I had with my other two girlfriends. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna. And so I actually sent them like a demo of the Hana Talk, and I was like, "Hey, I don't really have a lot of experience on radio, but if you guys need anything, like, I would love to help." Just because I grew up with the Hano, and that was one of the really strong bonds between my grandfather and I.
Hmm.
And they hired me, and I was like the first female DJ at the radio station, and I was there for 4 years. And so during that time, I made obviously a lot of different connects. And then when I started Chicana Chisme, Tejano 360, they have a couple of like Tejano oriented talk
Hmm.
shows. And he was like, "Hey, I've listened to it." He's like, "It's not chisme." He's like, I was expecting it to be gossip, and he's like, and
It's
it's
not.
not.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's kind of how like you get people because they're thinking it's gonna
Mhm.
be, don chismosa, and it's totally different.
No, it isn't.
And
Yeah.
so he's like, I would like to, be able to showcase what you're talking about and the people that you're talking about on our network. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So that's how that began.
That's amazing. Okay, so you just like dropped a little bomb and then just left it. You're like, I was a deep radio DJ for
Yeah,
4 years.
I
Like I
did.
had you have like that radio DJ voice, I have to say.
I'll take it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I love it. Yeah, going back to KXTN as well. So when that happened, because I have like just it lives in my head rent free with
Johnny
Johnny
Ramirez
Ramirez
in
in
the
the
morning.
morning. That is like my mom would have her old school like alarm clock radio in the
Yeah.
bathroom, and it would just play. So like yeah,
So
whenever
many memories.
I know. Obsessed. It's just back when I was younger and KXTN would be on and my mom would like I loved the music, but it's almost like when you're younger, you're a little bit ashamed of
Yeah,
that
and you
part.
don't appreciate it
You
as
don't.
much as you do as when you're a little older. And you're
Yeah.
like, okay, I get it, I get it.
Yes. And now I know like all of the songs, right?
Right,
And I'm like, "Oh, thank you, mom, because like that's I feel like I don't speak Spanish fluently.
yeah,
I can understand it, but like throw on some Tejano and your girl knows it, you
right,
know? And so I'm like,
exactly.
if that's the one thing that I can feel like Tejana about, I'm
It's
gonna take
definitely
it.
that. Yeah, exactly. No, for sure. And like I said, that was my bond between my grandfather and I. So I just like took it and ran. I started off in the morning show. And then when I started school, I was like, hey, I'm not going to be able to do the morning shows anymore because, I have school. And then I got offered the position as a um, DOD civilian. And he was like, well, don't quit. Like, let's do something at night. And so that's when I started Women of Tejano Wednesdays. And so I
Oh.
had a show that we specifically highlighted women that sang Tejano on Wednesdays.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love that. And I do like what a good concept for you to also bring this historical piece and like just being informative. I like that you said you came up with Chicana Chisme because it draws you in. That's what you think you're getting.
Hmm.
But then it's like you sit and listen and it's just all these Latinos that are doing really good stuff in the community. You talk to so many different people.
Mm.
You have reporters, you have comedians, people who are trending on TikTok,
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, like I guess what do you look for in a guest?
Honestly, just somebody that's doing something with themselves. And even not even necessarily that, just that has a story to tell. In the early, and I haven't done that in a while. In regards to like very interesting stories, but like in the very beginning, one of my really good friends, he does regional Mexicano, and he's gay.
Mhm.
And that's like unheard of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I first did that, it was like Chicano, gay and proud. I have a really good friend of mine who's from San Antonio, who transitioned from female to male while in the Navy. We were both in the
Oh,
Navy at the same
wow.
time. So I thought that was interesting. And he had a really good story. His family was very accepting of it. And I feel like a lot of times you heard stories about people transitioning that their family didn't accept them. So I really appreciated that. Not only did they do that while being in the service, but their family, as a Hispanic family at that,
Yeah.
was very accepting of them. So just things like that. I just liked hearing people's stories. I think that a lot of stories we don't really talk about very often. There's a lot of things that we don't talk about in the Hispanic community. I've had people that do like sex education, education on different diseases that we're not even aware about, besides like diabetes and high
Yeah.
cholesterol. Yeah, so things like that. Things I really thought that people really needed to hear to be able to resonate with.
Yeah. Well, and then I was also scrolling through your page and I noticed like it's all kind of making sense to me now that you minored in history
Hmm.
because you have a bunch of like Hispanic Heritage Month, you're highlighting people constantly.
Yeah.
Like your page kind of is very I guess, reminiscent of the fact that you studied history. You've
Yes.
got a lot of,
Yeah.
like I said, you know a lot about everything. You're sharing a lot of knowledge. And I do think that, um, I feel like when people are in school, right, whether it be high school, college, when you're studying this stuff, you're kind of like, like, unless you're very intrigued by it and it's what you're majoring or
Yeah.
minoring in.
Yeah, because I remember being in high school, like, oh my God, history is so boring.
Yeah.
Because we had like a very monotone kind of teacher,
Yes.
and they were older. Like,
Yeah.
I see all these like younger teachers these days, and I'm like, I probably would have learned something if we had these kind of teachers back
Right.
then.
And that's why I think too, like you using social media to get some of this stuff out. It's like social media has such a reach where maybe you are reaching these younger kids who
Right.
probably would not be interested in something like this if it's being taught in school, but maybe Tori's the one doing it
Yeah,
for them, you
definitely.
know?
And I felt like, especially after when was it? the 2016 election. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just felt like I felt like you either had like the Latinos for Trump, or you had everybody that was like the like you had the left and the right,
Yeah.
and I just felt like we're ashamed and or we're not proud when in reality like we had so much to do with American history, and it's just because we're not taught to be proud of it. Like I can say I'm Mexican all day, but the reality is like I'm third generation. You know what I mean? Like I'm a
Yes.
Tejana. My Spanish is horrible. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like we don't even
Mhm.
go back to visit Mexico because my family's like, yeah, no, I think not.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
dangerous down there,
Mhm.
especially in the area, where my family's from. And so it's kind of like, how do you grow up in a place like San Antonio where the culture is so strong, but you also don't know it
Yeah.
either? Like,
Mhm.
ni de aquí ni de allá, right? Like,
Yes.
Mexicans don't like us. They think that our Spanish isn't great, or we think
Yeah.
we're better than them.
Fresa
Or,
is what I've
yeah,
heard. Fresa.
pochos. Like, we
Yeah.
just can never win, right? And
Mhm.
and that's like a rhetoric that at this point we've heard consistently. But that's exactly how I feel, and I feel like there's so many people who contributed to America being great, and
Mhm.
we just don't know about it.
Yeah. No, that is such a good way of putting it. And I do think that you're right. There's what I do find interesting about, I don't want to get into too much politics, but
Right.
like there's definitely a division that you can see right now amongst Latinos where some of them are pro Trump, like he can do no wrong.
Right.
And then there's another group, I mean, that really just either, I guess two other groups, right? Maybe they don't care, and the group that just straight out does not like him
Right.
because of his rhetoric.
For sure.
One thing that I've been talking about recently is like even when it comes just to voting, um, a lot of Latinos, I don't want to speak for all of them, but from my knowledge, feel like their vote doesn't count, you
Right.
know? And
Yeah.
so I think that it's so important right now that I don't, I'm just going to say, like, I don't care who you vote for, just vote. You know
Right.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure.
Like, just vote. And that goes back to just what we're taught growing up, like diminishing our history,
Right.
making people feel like they're not valued. They didn't contribute to making America quote unquote great.
Right. And they did.
Um,
Like there's so
yeah.
many, we hear a lot about like African American history, black
Mhm.
history. And Hispanics had a lot to do with a lot of that. Like
Yeah.
Mendez versus Winchester, I want to say. If I'm getting it incorrect, I'm totally just blanking out. Which is a Hispanic American case that happened in California, actually was what set the precedence for Board versus Brown.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that.
Don't know. Mm-mm.
And which was, a huge case in regards to segregation in schools.
Yeah.
And, I'm always like, oh, I get it. And I always try to tell people, like, it's not even the big elections that really, I mean, they matter, of
They
course, but
matter,
like
but it's
the
the
local elections,
yes.
because, our president is one thing, and then you have our governor who's doing something completely
Mhm.
different, and we don't realize that we need a vote in like the initial,
Yes.
from your local council
It's like the
person.
very bottom
Yeah,
goes all the
because
way up.
it's in your state, in your area, in your city, in your county that is making that big difference.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize that till I got older either, so I get that.
Yeah.
And I get the whole concept of like, oh, it doesn't matter anyway. And while maybe not the big thing, it's the little things that are affected of you immediately, just from
Yes.
like a basic proposition,
Yeah.
makes such a big difference.
Yeah, I remember when I first was, becoming, an adult and I was like, I really want to act like I really want to um vote in like as many elections as I could. And I swear I showed up to like I forgot a library possibly or a city hall or something to go vote and they're like, "Ma'am, this is not your election. It does not apply to you." And I was like, "Oh, wrong zip code." Like
You're like, I just wanted to
I
vote,
just wanted to
okay?
vote, but I like
I
I
love
guess
that.
it just even down to the basics, like people don't teach you things about voting. At least I never got it because it was a city election. I lived in the county, and even
Okay.
that, I was like, but the mayor still impacts me when I work in the city. I'm
Right.
always in the city.
For
Yeah,
sure.
that's what it was. And they were like, no, you don't get to vote
Yeah.
for the
Yeah,
mayor.
and I think it's just because I mean, even the last time I went to vote, for not the primaries, but like the midterm or
Oh
whatever it's
yes,
called.
hmm
I was like the only semi-young person in that
yeah,
line. It was all like
yeah,
older people, and I was kind of getting frustrated because like people that are like in wheelchairs or have a cane or
yeah.
anything, they let them up front, which I totally get, right? But then I'm like, chingo, I'm never gonna get in this line. I came during my lunch, man. Like,
Yeah, well, and then you see who's showing up to vote, and it's like it's no wonder why a lot of our people in positions of power
are
are
older.
older and
Yeah,
are who they are
exactly.
because like sometimes our group is just not showing up.
Yeah.
So Yeah, no, I just wonder, did you ever consider being like a teacher because you're really,
No.
really good, and so
Kids would
no?
drive me insane.
I love the honesty.
I would get fired so quick for telling a kid to sit their little ass down.
Sit your little ass down.
Siéntate. Oh, no, no, it just wouldn't work for me.
Oh,
I can maybe considered it like as a thought, and I'm like, oh, I just don't have patience. And it's probably not even the kids because I understand that children. Because I actually out of high school I did early childcare professions because I did want to do something with children.
yeah.
But it's more so the parents.
Oh, yeah.
I would fight a mom.
Different ball game for sure.
Yeah, no, I just no, yeah. It wouldn't even be the kids. It would honestly probably be the parents and like the school board.
Yeah, because mijo can do no wrong, right?
Right, for sure, exactly. And I'm like, your kid just like chopped off this other little girl's hair. What do you mean you could do no wrong? Mi hijo no es cholo with like a teardrop. Okay, girl.
Okay, girl.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You and your silver tooth kid.
The silver, not the silver teeth. That's hilarious. Okay, so you did, going back to the network that you're part of,
Yeah.
Tejano is so sorry, Tejano 360,
Yes.
correct?
Uh-huh.
So they have what, about four different
Shows.
talk shows,
Hmm.
podcasts.
Yeah.
Um, I just happened to come, I just happened to find it on like the Roku app or
Yes,
whatever.
that's what it's on.
That's what it's
Hmm.
on. Okay, so you're no longer on radio anymore.
No, I quit the radio last year. Actually, like about a month after my grandpa passed away.
Mm.
We were very, very close, and I needed a break from a lot of things,
Yeah.
to include the radio. And I just kind of felt like, because I was taking care of him, like me and my mom would take turns. I was there every weekend. He was part
Yeah.
of my, weekly schedule and everything, appointments, this, that, and the other. And I just kind of needed a break. And I felt like, okay, I was done with that chapter in regards to, being a caretaker. And I needed to take care of myself. And I
Yeah.
feel like I was just doing so much. I
Mhm.
had just graduated. I was, doing that. I was in reserves at the time on top of my full-time job. And I mean, I just had so much going on that I needed to take a break. So yeah, I just kind of was like, let me step down.
Yeah, I'm finding though through talking with you that like part of your job, I guess, is obviously talking about other people, but like you have all these surprises coming up because you don't share a lot about yourself on
I
your.
don't. I
Yeah.
have a lot of people that tell me that they're like, you need to open up, like, um, show who you are. But I have mastered the art of letting people think they know a lot without telling them a lot.
Yeah.
Just
Mhm.
because I feel like I just have so much going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's intentional and you don't want to, but
Yeah.
I'm like, you got a lot of stories to
I
tell, like
do,
about
girl.
yourself
I
as
wasn't kidding when
well.
I said I could talk to the wall.
No, I
Me
mean,
and my dogs have interesting conversations at the house. Let me tell you, I'm never bored.
oh, okay. So you have dogs, so no kids, because you said the kids will drive you crazy.
I love kids. Unfortunately, I cannot have any
Oh,
biologically.
okay. I'm
Um,
sorry about
it's
that.
okay.
Yeah.
It happens, girl. I got over it a long time ago. But yeah, that's why I don't have kids.
Yeah. Oh, okay, okay. But dogs are a lot too. How many dogs do you have?
I have two, a pit bull and a boxer. They are a
Oh,
lot, but
big dogs,
they
lot of energy.
yeah, big dog energy right here. No, I love my babies. They're one of them I got in California, and then the other, this girl was like, I can't take care of this dog. I don't have time for it. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And so,
What are their names?
Jefe and Dulce.
Oh, so cute.
They're my little babies.
Yes, I feel like the jargon here, jefe, dulce, chicana, chisme, gente, like this is totally effervescent of you,
Very
right?
much so.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love it. I've loved learning about you. Oh
Thank
my
you.
goodness. Okay, so going back to Chicana Chisme, have you always been a chismosa or would you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love just hearing the chisme, cause like, especially with me, like, I never like you said, I'm fairly private, even, like, when I hear, like, a friend told somebody else something, I'm like, "Why would you tell them? That's none of their business." And they're like, "Oh my god, Tori, like, all I said was you wiped your ass today." And I'm like, "Nobody should know about me wiping my ass, right?"
Oh, yes.
But
Mhm.
all up in the business,
Yeah.
like, I just finished watching, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Obsessed with it.
I was too.
Yeah.
And I'm telling my boyfriend, and he's like, seriously, that's what you're watching? And I'm like, oh my God, it's so juicy. Like, you don't even
Yeah.
understand. And he's like, okay. And I'll just watch random things. And my friends are like, I wouldn't think you'd like that. I'm like, it's because I don't have drama in my
Yeah.
life. So I kind of like like to watch it. But I would say
Yeah.
that's the vast of it. I feel like, especially gotten older, Everybody talks about everybody in some way, shape, or form. Let's be
Yes.
honest. Even if it's not malicious, even if it's not intentional, being ugly, like you casually tell people like, "Oh, how's so and so doing? Oh, they're doing good. This is what's going on with them. Da, 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 whatever, whatever."
Yeah.
But I would say that's about as far as my chisme goes.
I love it though. No,
Yeah,
I
I'm a nerd. I'm like, what do you think about the aliens? Like, do you think they're coming? What's going on here?
I
Just
would
weird conversations.
I would never like even think that you would be into like that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
girl,
Yeah.
conspiracy theories, rabbit
All
hole.
day,
Let
yeah.
me tell you. Let's start talking about the Freemasons and go from there.
I just went down a rabbit hole the other day. I mean, it's not a conspiracy because he was charged, but the P Diddy stuff,
Oh
but
my
like the
God.
conspiracies
The
around it.
scandal.
Yes, I went down that rabbit hole the other day. The Mormon wives. I Taylor Frankie Paul used to just randomly show up in my feed,
Uh-huh.
and so then whenever I like saw that they were coming out with a show, I was like,
Yeah.
"What's this about?" Hooked, you know? Like
Also, how are all of them under 30 and they look 40?
I'm just like, yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
like, oh, is that because they're Caucasian or is it because of all of their like stuff that they've done to their face?
Probably. Isn't it
Beautiful
crazy?
girls, all of them. But I'm like, how old are y'all?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah, no, and it's crazy because like all the stuff that you get done is supposed to help you look
Younger.
younger, you know?
Yeah.
They all look the same though.
They
They're
do.
gorgeous, but they
Yes.
all kind of look similar.
Yeah, and then there's like like two random Latinos in there. I'm like, what is this? How did you guys end up in like Utah? Okay, whatever, I guess.
It's because those surprise Latino communities, like you were saying. I'm always shocked when I go somewhere and I'm like, wait a minute, there's people like me here. Like, I don't know why I think we're all just in California and
Yeah,
Texas.
no, for sure. And it's usually because you find that like their family migrated there either
Yeah.
to like work or because it was cheaper or
Hmm.
who, what, where, when, why.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think I'm gonna misquote it, but my grandma's from Michigan? I think she was born in
There's
Michigan.
a lot of Mexicans in
I'm like,
Michigan.
how did you end up in Texas then?
I
Like
got a
what?
homegirl that's in Michigan. I was stationed with her husband when I was in Chicago, and Michigan's like 2 hours away, and they have family in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're just all over the
we
place.
really
A little
are.
here, a
We're
little
really
there.
sprinkled. Yeah,
And it's good. I mean, if they know how to cook, it's good because Mexican food, you know.
exactly,
But we all do
exactly.
it differently. Okay, so we're gonna do just a couple of uh speed questions really
Let's do
quickly,
it.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have a favorite guest of all time?
Ooh, I don't think I do.
No?
No, I love everybody just as equally. I've definitely met a couple people that became friends out of
Yeah.
being guests, but I don't think I necessarily have a favorite
She's
guest.
lying, y'all. One of you is her favorite.
I know. I'm just
I'm
not
just
gonna tell
kidding.
you which one.
What's the most challenging thing about doing a podcast?
Doing it by yourself because I'm like editing and
Yes.
then I have to like fix the volume and then I have to like go back and hear it and I already have ADHD so it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
That's probably the most stressful. And then like sometimes I just have like so much going on that I forgot to like release the episode for the week
Yeah.
or yeah, that's probably the biggest pain in the butt.
Oh, I feel you on that one. I mean, my husband helps me a little bit like with setup and stuff, but post production,
Yeah.
it's all me.
Yeah,
And
and this is
so,
such a great setup. Like I wanted to tell you, girl, when I started, I recorded on my phone.
yeah.
And then I upgraded. I got a Mac, and now I use GarageBand. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I'm like me and my phone.
Yeah.
Basic journalism, I guess.
Yeah, no. I mean, well like
With a pen and paper.
these things are so handy because like sometimes these mics, they just sometimes it gives me problems in here.
Yeah,
So,
I
I
bought
just
these
got
like legit. And then if I go anywhere that I like travel that I want to talk to
yeah.
people, I just record it on my phone with the mics.
Yeah, and they work.
Yeah,
Like the technology has just gotten
I
so
know, love it. You can
yeah.
literally do everything with your
Yeah,
phone.
no, I feel you. It's a lot
Remember
of
when
work.
you used to have internet and somebody picked up the phone and it messed up your internet?
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then we've like migrated to like we're in what, Apple 16 now?
Yeah. I just had a guest that was like, "Remember your teachers would tell you like you need to learn this math because you're never going to have a calculator." And she was like, "We literally do on our phones
Literally.
at
There's
all times."
literally everything. You can have your Apple Watch and be like, "Doo, doo, 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 doo."
Yeah, exactly. It's do, you
I
know.
know, life.
Okay, so has someone ever given you like some really big restrictions on an interview?
No.
No.
Mm-mm. And I always make sure to ask. And I always tell everybody, like, hey, before this interview, if there's anything that you don't want to talk about, or if there's anything you want me to take out, like it's pre recorded. So we can
Yeah.
always do that. But surprisingly, no.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Do you post edit a lot, like part of your conversation? Is there anything when you're listening back and you've been like, maybe I'll take that out?
I say a lot.
Oh yeah.
I hear and then like chingo Tori. But otherwise, no, not in particular. Sometimes I hear myself talking about my own story a lot, and I'm like, "Ay, Victoria, like you talked way too much about yourself," and so I'll edit that.
Yeah.
So maybe that has a lot to do too with why I don't really put my too much of my own business out there. But
Yeah.
I would say that's probably it.
I feel like there's a struggle in that too, though. Just like I feel so I've had people tell me like the same thing, share more about yourself. And I'm like, but it's about them, not about me.
Right. But I
Um,
think it's people are attracted to you that makes them want to listen to the other
listen, yeah.
guest. Yeah.
So, but there are times where I'm like, oh my God, not another fucking story, Priscilla. Like,
Yeah.
stop trying to be so relatable with it, you
Yes.
know?
And then sometimes I feel you because you it makes you like I understand like when I'm telling a story, it's because I'm trying to relate to them. And then sometimes I'm like, am I just like talking about myself or am I genuinely trying to be relatable to this person? Or am I just like throwing my own trauma in there?
Yeah.
So yeah, that I tend to edit a lot. I'm like, oh girl, you talked way too much in that episode.
I have a challenge for you. Leave some of it in.
Okay.
Leave a little, I mean, don't listen to me,
I'm
but
all
like,
ah.
you're like, maybe not. Yeah, so I already asked you this, but would your family say that you've always been chismosa?
No.
No?
They would definitely say I've been stubborn and hard headed,
Really?
but not
Not
chismosa.
chismosa. And
Yeah.
how do they support your podcast?
They
Like
don't
do they
listen. They'll
family?
my mom will like share it, but
Yeah.
she thinks like I'm telling my business to everybody, which I'm like, lady, you've
Oh.
never even listened, girl. But yeah, my mom's very like supportive from a distance, like,
Yeah.
you go girl, like do
Mhm.
you, but she's never listened.
I do appreciate the honesty with it
Yeah. I'm
though.
like, all
Yeah.
right, girl, like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, my mom will
I'm
get
sure she thinks I talk about her.
Oh, yeah. I do bring up my mom sometimes. And sometimes I'm like, "Ooh, maybe I shouldn't have said that." But
Yeah, it's kind of hard sometimes because you want to like talk about certain topics, but at the same time you're like, oh, maybe I don't want to go that in depth.
yeah, I'm like, I don't want to offend anyone. But
Right.
honestly, I feel like I don't know. I just feel like people can relate to certain things. So,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and there's definitely topics that I wanted to go into that I'm like mother wounds because for the longest time I used to say like I never wanted a daughter.
really.
Yeah, because we're very heavy females
Yeah.
on in my family
Uh-huh.
side, and nobody really had a great mother daughter relationship. And
Oh.
so for the longest time, I used to always be like, if I ever have kids, I only want boys. I
Yeah.
never want a girl. Like I don't want to traumatize her, and I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to, have the same bond with her that like my grandma had with my mom, and my mom had with her mom, and um. So I've wanted to go into that, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's a little too close to home.
Yes, but I do think like everybody has something,
Oh, for
you
sure.
know?
No, no, most definitely. And in talking to, people throughout the years, I've definitely seen that, but I'm just like,
You're like, I don't know if I
tread
want to get that
lightly with that
person.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little bit weird. I have two daughters. You just met them. They greet her at the
Yeah.
door.
They were
So
so cute. They're like, hi.
yeah. But yes, I find myself like thinking when I'm reacting in certain ways where I'm like, okay, like take a
Yeah.
step back. Was that right? Is that just something that I was told when I was younger? Like
Right.
try to kind of reevaluate that. But oh my gosh, to have you say like I never wanted to have daughters
Mhm.
specifically. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've never been like the kind of person to like hate women. Like I am a girl's girl.
Oh
I have
yeah.
just as many girlfriends as I do guy friends, especially being in the military, obviously I have a
Oh
lot of guy
yeah.
friends. But so it's never impacted me in my female relationships. And it's funny because I actually think my friendships have always been more solid than like any relationship I've ever been in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's maybe because I've always wanted that feminine energy around because me and my mom weren't as close.
Yeah.
So I think instead of it kind of going opposite, which you see a lot of, it kind of went the other way on the
Yeah.
positive side.
Well, you did mention though that like guy friends, girlfriends. You mentioned a boyfriend though. You
Hmm.
have a boyfriend right
I
now?
do.
Ooh.
It's new. It's a new little boo
Oh,
thing.
I won't put you on the spot then.
Yeah, Ahmad's fairly new, but he's out there. I mentioned him. He can't complain.
The people know,
The
okay?
people know.
Well, no, I'm gonna make sure that on your next episode, you're sharing a
Okay,
little bit about yourself.
got it. I'm all thinking. I'm like, I'm doing an episode, but it's a couple months old, so I don't remember what I said in there.
Oh yeah.
I remember when I edited it.
Yeah,
but
like
for future references.
I wonder how far in advance do you film?
So this year, so last year I felt like I slacked off a lot, and I was like, I'm gonna try to do a bunch this year. So I had like put out, um, like a sign up list kind of thing,
Mhm.
and I did so many people's, and then so many people's. Hello, horrible grammar. I did so many interviews at the beginning of the year, and then between like going active duty, and then I was on my, I got off of my ADHD meds. That's why if you see me on the thing and I'm all like ansia, it's because I'm like, I can't sit still to save my life. To get these orders, I had to get off my anxiety and my ADHD meds.
Yeah.
So that like totally threw my brain chemistry off. And it took me a minute to
Yes.
like regain myself back into like a schedule. And then for July and August, I was in Florida for recruiting school.
Mm.
So I probably have like 6 or 7 episodes on deck from
Yeah.
like March.
Woo.
I know. And then the crazy thing is, so like with the Hana 360, we only record people that are local.
Yeah.
And then on the podcast, I normally get a lot of people that are like from California, Chicago, that
Yeah.
I talk to that I do via Zoom.
Yeah.
So those like the 360, he edits them for me. So easy day. I just put my intro, my outro, done with it. But if it's something I have to do, then yeah, I have to edit the whole
The
thing.
whole thing.
And
Yeah.
that takes a little bit longer.
She's the talent, guys. She's got people editing stuff for her.
Only for
So.
the Tejano 360 one, but for and it's funny because those ones we do like 10-minute increments because he has commercials
Mhm.
in between them, so those
Yeah.
go like super quick. But when it's somebody that I'm doing an interview like via Zoom with, where we just go off the rip because we don't take that time to stop.
Yes, I did notice as well. So, are you guys are like recording it kind of live? Is it live playing somewhere? Because I noticed y'all start like in some. Anyway, I'll ask you
Yeah.
after. I'll ask you after. Okay, we're gonna do some questions here though.
Ooh, hot
I got
takes.
4 hot takes here.
Okay, are we doing this back and forth?
Yeah, you can start and then I'll
All
go
right,
next.
you can come do my podcast next, so that way I can ask you questions.
I That's the funny thing. I was just telling my husband. I said I love asking. I'm a little chismosa, I guess. I love asking questions. I
Yeah.
love interviewing people, learning about people. I don't like answering questions.
No,
I,
it
I
happens.
I mean I'll do it, but
Yeah.
I always get nervous. So and I tell people all the time when they come in, I'm like, why are you nervous? Like, don't be nervous.
Yeah.
And then I get nervous and I'm like, oh yeah, I get
You're
it.
like, okay,
Yeah.
I take that
I'm
back.
like, it's valid. I get it.
All right. Oh, these are good.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one's hilarious.
Okay.
Someone calling their boyfriend daddy is weird and creepy.
I mean, to each his own. But I'm not gonna be calling anybody daddy.
That's
I
hilarious.
say it as a joke, like zaddy. But you, what do you think?
Guys like it, girl.
I'm sure they
They
do.
love it. They love it, especially during sexy time.
During sexy time. Yeah, I could have
That or poppy. They love
Poppy.
it.
See, here's the thing. So Poppy is what I call my son.
Yeah,
So
and no,
like,
and you know what? It's funny because like that's what like my little brother. We always call him like daddy or papas.
Papa's,
So
yeah,
like, and it's funny because I call him my boy dog. I'm like, hi papas, or like, hi
yeah.
daddy, just because habit, right? And so like sometimes I'm like, okay, that's weird, but whatever, whatever
Okay, if
gets
you
your
like
rocks
it,
off.
I'm like, yeah. If they like it, they like it. Yeah, no,
Exactly.
I would cringe because I'd be like, I don't know. I call him Papicito or Papi, and
Yeah,
then
like
if
I'm
I'm
not
like,
gonna call them that in front of like my own
oh,
dad, but
yeah, no,
you
but
know, just like doing some intimate time.
I mean, if they like it, they like it. You
Exactly.
do it,
I'll call
girl.
you dumbass motherfucker if that's what you want me to call you.
I love it.
Why
Again, I
not?
appreciate the honesty.
All right, bet.
Okay. People who grew up with social media will have less interpersonal communication skills.
Yes, for
For sure.
sure. I
Yeah.
mean, we've seen that firsthand. Um, it's all, I'm always so like astonished how many people have social anxiety,
Yeah.
especially when I worked at Lackland. So for their technical training, so they just came from boot camp. So
Yeah.
they go to boot camp, then they go to the technical training, and like so awkward, just so awkward sometimes.
Oop.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do find that well because I'm such a
Or they don't know how to talk in front
in
of.
front of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even two people. Like yeah, I try and work on this with my 14-year-old where like the simplest things at a
Hmm.
restaurant, tell the waitress what you want.
Yeah.
Like simple things
How to
to
order, how to call and make a doctor's appointment.
yeah, because it's like true though. If nobody helps you do it, like I think that you A, just don't know how to do it,
Yeah.
and B, you
And
feel
text
awkward
is
doing it.
so available with everything now.
Yes.
You can text any and everything. So
Yeah.
it's not like you actually need to have conversational
Yeah,
skills.
that is so true. But and I do think like it is what's the word? For some people, their social anxiety is just so
Really
bad,
bad. Yeah.
yeah, that it can really trigger them. And so, yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling internet, social media, phones, just technology in general has contributed to that a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but yeah, we're a different breed. Like,
For sure.
we got
For
both.
sure. Yeah. All right. Men should not wear skinny jeans. I agree with this.
Yeah, no.
I did a 6-month deployment in Spain,
Hmm.
and the men, gorgeous. Their pants were tighter than mine. And I was like, yeah, no, like, brother, I can see both your bolas to your pants. Like your
She will
pants.
not be calling you
Yeah,
daddy.
and then I hate when like little thugs wear skinny jeans and then they're still sagging. Like, ya pa qué, bro? All
It's
you're
like,
doing is squeezing your
yeah, it's like
butt.
it squeezes the butt up.
Yeah. It's like a muffin top, but for your
But butt.
butt. I never understood it. And then to still have a belt on top of that.
Yeah, it's like, what's the belt for then? You don't need no
Exactly.
belt.
Yeah, I'm like, just wear regular jeans, bro. So
I know. I
weird.
feel like they were in for a couple of years, and then like men just forgot how to not wear them.
Yeah.
But like, remember when they were just for like the emo kids, and then everybody started
Yes.
wearing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, muffin top for your
To
butt.
each their own, I guess. I don't know.
I know. I'm like, no offense if you're wearing skinny jeans,
Yeah,
just like don't. Just kidding.
exactly.
Oh, this one's hilarious. Okay, it's totally okay. It's totally okay to pee in the shower. You pee in the
I'm feet in the shower once or twice, as long as
shower
you're in there by
by yourself.
yourself.
I mean, yeah.
Oh my god, funny story. So I was in boot camp. They like put you in charge, like
Uh-huh.
a guy and a girl in charge of whoever's like in your sleeping areas. And I remember like a bunch of girls came to me and they're like, Escamilla. And I'm like, what? And they're like, so and so peed in the shower. And they're community showers. Like it's pretty much like a prison. Like
Yeah.
there's the little heads, like exactly like how a prison is set up. They're just like that. And they're like, she peed in the shower. And you know, like your urine smells. And so not only like were they smelling this urine where they're trying to bathe, like they're freaking out because it probably touched their
Touch the
feet.
feet.
Yeah, and I was
Oh.
like, oh girl, no. Like
You cannot pee in a community shower.
no, no. Why you even think that's
No.
acceptable is like beyond me.
It's
Wild.
so gross. And then the steam will like
Ugh, girl. They're like, you didn't have no water today,
I
girl.
know.
We can tell.
And that's why
You are not hydrated, ma'am.
Oh, that's
Oh my
hilarious.
gosh.
Stop, my cheeks hurt on that one.
All right. Is it my turn?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Middle names are pointless. I'm
Um,
gonna say no because I go by my middle name.
okay, I did listen to the one where you're like Maria Victoria Escamilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, where'd Tori come from? I'm like, Victoria.
Victoria.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, no, I love a middle name. A
Yeah.
good middle name. My middle name, Mom, it sucks.
What is it?
Just Marie.
Priscilla
Marie.
Marie?
Priscilla Marie, but
Yeah.
my sister's Veronica Marie, so I used to think I was her junior because
Oh,
I was
that's
like,
so cute. Well, see, I have a lot of Marias in my family. And
yeah,
so we all go by our middle name.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes
So I don't know
sense.
if it's like a family thing.
Maybe. I love a good like two name combo. Like
Yeah.
even if you don't go through it, it's good for when they're in trouble. When your kids are in trouble.
Facts. Facts. My dogs have middle names too. It's so funny.
Really?
Yeah.
What are they?
So Jefe, I call him Jefe Alejandro Escamilla.
I love it.
And actually doesn't have a middle name, but I call her Dulcita. I'm like, Dulcita Escamilla, get over here.
I love
Or like,
it.
you know how people say like squirrel, like for girl, like, hey, squirrel
For squirrel.
friend. Yeah. Or so I call her Squirrel, and I'm like, Squirreliana Jones, get over here.
So cute.
I'm telling you, I have a whole conversation with my dogs. It's
No,
weird.
Bailey, my daughter has given Lucy as her dog, Lucy Bell, but then when she calls her Lucinda Marie when she's like doing something really bad, if she pees or poops somewhere, she's like Lucinda Marie.
I love that. That
And
is
I'm like, there we go
hilarious.
again with another Marie. She's my junior, I guess.
I love it. Dogs. We've turned them into humans.
Yeah, and they know.
Hilarious.
Okay, let's see. Going out on a Saturday night is better than staying in. You like to go out?
I do. I'm a callejera girl.
Me too.
I
I
was
was out
out.
last night.
I was, my grandma was laughing at me. Me and her went walking this morning, and I went out Thursday, Friday, and then I stayed home this weekend. She's
Mm.
like, How you gonna go out during the week? I was like, because there was more things going on during the week than there
Yeah.
was on the weekend.
Yeah.
I think it just depends. I get in like these waves where I want to go out and then I'm like, nah, I'm gonna stay home. So
Yeah.
it just kind of depends.
I think like if I was single, I'd be out all the time.
Yeah.
Not even gonna lie, but I obviously have a whole ass family here, so I don't go out that often. But when I do, I love to have fun, and I love being out.
Yeah.
I
I'm the same way. And it's not even to like be in the street. I just love to like hear live music or like talk to my
yes,
friends or
mm-hmm.
just like get out of the house and mingle and
Yes.
even if it's for like for a networking event, I'm
Y-
just all about it.
Same.
Yeah.
It's like anything. And Andy's like, my husband's like, any excuse to leave. Like you just never want to be home. And
You're like,
my little
sorry.
one is like, let's go to HEB for no reason.
Oh, I love it. I always like people always kind of give me grief about like being out so much because I would be out 4 or 5 times a week if I
Yeah.
could. Just
Mhm.
because I also have a lot of things going on. I have a lot of like networking events that just so
Yeah.
happen to be revolved around drinking.
I mean, it
You
is
know,
what it is.
yeah. Because I also have so I'm on two different organizations boards, and I have my own business, my own little side business. I do embroidery and apparel printing. So like
Really?
I do like a lot of networking with different stuff, different
Yeah.
people, doing all these different things. I was on the Latina Leadership Institute through the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Mhm.
So I do a lot of stuff with them. So there's always just stuff going on.
Yeah.
And so people are like, oh my God, you're out again. Or I remember one time one of my friends was like, me and the girls went to brunch and they were like, oh, you're the drunk Diaz. And I'm like, why are y'all always hating on me? Like,
Yeah.
say you live to be 80. I haven't even lived half my life yet. And
Right.
what am I going to do? Like, stay home for the next 50 years? Who the fuck does that? I'm trying to be a golden
And
girl.
also, if you just stay home, they're also gonna have an opinion about it too. They're
Exactly.
like, you never come out, you never do like,
I know.
do
Yeah.
you? Do you, boo boo?
Exactly. Just live your best life. Like, if that includes being home, binging on the couch, cool.
Mhm.
If I want to be out, let me live.
I love it.
See the problem. All right. This one's not as great as the other ones were, but GIF is pronounced GIF.
No, GIF. You?
I don't know. How do
GIF.
you even say meme technically?
I know, meme. I
Do you remember
remember
people
somebody
say
Mimi.
Mimi?
Yes.
And I'm like going to sleep? Like we're going Mimi? What do you mean?
I feel like my family would
Some hella
no.
Mexican shit.
Mimi.
You send me a
Yes.
Mimi? It's a meme, girl. That is
That's a good
hilarious.
Mimi. I don't know why I already knew that that was coming.
Because I think like GIF, like gift, and
Oh,
just
and
without the
gift.
T.
Yeah.
I don't
GIF.
know.
Yeah, I was actually I don't know why I was thinking about this. I think yesterday cuz GIF comes like it's a format, right? .gif.
Yeah, I think so.
So like, I don't know. And then yeah, GIF is peanut butter.
Exactly.
GIF is peanut butter. GIF is como
The
un mimi.
Yeah. I love it. I'm all hitting myself on the microphone. I'm all, yes, but
Yeah,
exactly
GIF.
that. The freaking memes.
I cannot.
That's all I do. That's like my love language, just sending like memes and reels to people,
Yeah.
emojis. They're like, "How are you doing today?" And I'm like, send the little like face with like
Just
the
a
question
meh.
mark.
I don't know. Meh.
Yeah. Okay, bud.
That's so funny. Well, Tori, I have loved having
Oh, thank
you
you for
on this
having me.
podcast.
Thank you so
I've
much.
loved learning a little bit about you. And like I said, you've got so many things that you're doing, especially I didn't know you were on the board of something. And like,
Hmm.
yeah, these are things that normally I would catch, but she doesn't share, guys.
Yeah, and then too, like I have like a gazillion different Instagrams. So
Pages.
yeah,
Yeah.
pages. So like I have my my business page. I had a Tejano page when I was doing the
Yeah.
Tejano when I was on the radio. And then I have the podcast, and then I have my personal one.
Yeah.
And even at that, I post like once a month.
Yeah. That's no. I still think you're very present and you're being visible
Yeah,
online. So that's good.
I'll
But
take it.
give me like your best before we wrap up. Your best cuz radio DJs have a specific style. What was your radio DJ thing?
So my thing was I was always like "Burr, burr, burr, burr."
I love it.
And even to this day, people were like, "Do the sound," and I'm like, "Burr, burr, burr, burr."
I love
Yeah,
it.
so that was like my thing I would do for everybody. But I tried not to change it too much because people always tell me that I have a high pitched voice already.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to sound like annoying or too high pitched or like
Oh.
so I just kind of like tried to stick to my normal voice.
No, it's a good voice. I like it.
Thank
It's
you. I'll take it.
recognizable, you
Okay.
know?
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let everybody know where they can find you on social.
Yes, so Chicana Chisme podcast on Instagram, Facebook. I do have a TikTok, and so mestiza, Mestiza. If you ever need anything embroidery or apparel printed, um, and
Shoot.
yeah. Oh, and I forgot, I have a recruiting page now. So if anybody's prior service and you want to come back into the military, and you just so happen to want to do the Navy, it's recruiting underscore SATX. And yeah, that's where you, Tori Escamilla.
I love it.
Google me.
Google me. Just kidding.
It's Tori, bitch.
I love it. I love it. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you follow her, support her, like, rate, and subscribe this podcast. We will be back with another episode next week, and it was so fun getting to know
It
you.
was. It was fun. We have to go have drinks down the street.
I know, right?
Let's do
Let's do
it.
it.
Senoritas.
I know.
Have you been
Yes.
there?
No, I've always wanted to
Oh, it's
go.
so
Is it
cute.
good? Yeah.
Yes. All right. There you go. We got a date.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.